Well, in this video, I'm gonna be ranking every single dragon in Kingdom Rush history. With that, as a personal dragon user and person who loves dragon, why not make a tier list about it? So let's begin.
Dracarys!
Many people might argue that Ashbite is the worst, and I kinda agree, but for me it's not like so, as just because of that reason both of them are tied. I am just showing Faustus first of all. After thinking a lot after making this entire tier list, I decided and created a lot of changes into the entire tier list. So the final tier list will be shown at the end. These are just my first opinions, and then I had researched quite a lot, and yeah, then I put it out the final tier list at the end, so make sure you watch the video till the end.
Alright, he's alright. I mean, dragons by themselves are really powerful, but comparing to other dragons, not even close. Ashbite. Now here's the thing, many people may disagree with my decision on Faustus being the weakest, but personally, in a game like Kingdom Rush Frontiers, I find Ashbite really much useful. I have never seen myself losing a game if I have Ashbite as my hero. Personally, that's what I believe, and this dragon is a powerhouse of damage in Kingdom Rush Frontiers. Not close to the top grades, but as for what we're getting from Ashbite, I personally enjoy using him. As we say in Kingdom Rush Universe, the red dragons are the powerful dragons. Ashbite is the youngest dragon out of all of the dragons in Kingdom Rush Universe so far, and he's way much more powerful than you could think of. He's not even in his adult form yet. I still believe he's in Ashbite, so yeah, consider him strong. With his ability, with the having very less cooldown when maxed out, this hero can deal so much more damage. Personally, believe me, his normal attack might not deal much damage, but his abilities, that's what I personally feel like sets him apart from Faustus being the least powerful dragon in Kingdom Rush Universe. As now we are starting to get through few of the interesting dragons. Over here we have Sylvara from Kingdom Rush Alliance. She's probably one of the most balanced dragons I have ever seen. She's moreover on the support side of the dragons, I would consider, because most of her abilities are made for support purposes, and she's not bad in any case, to be honest. She's really good. I would put her in a B tier, no doubt. But I would consider her to be somewhat lacking in terms of damage. She's not the greatest damage dealer, and she requires quite a lot of microing all around the map, which is really hard for some players. First, this is one of the first dragons I have seen that I have to micro quite a lot to get a perfect positioning from which she could attack really fast. Although, if you use the cancelling of this hero, this dragon can be so much more powerful. I would put her straight up at the S tier. If I had to rank her in overall Kingdom Rush Heroes tier list, she would definitely be up in A tier, but as this is dragon tier list and most of the dragons come up in S, A or B, there is no down tier of dragons except Faustus, I guess. So I just am gonna put her in B, mid B, somewhere like so, with Luminer, I guess, because Luminer is kind of stronger than her in terms of damage, and she is kind of a better support dragon overall, but her abilities are really great too, as if you count Sylvara having one of the greatest abilities out there. She gets so much resistance when it comes to physical and magical resistance, so she can be a really great tank in some cases too, as far as you could ask me. I'm speaking this after I completed this entire video, as when I was creating this video I actually didn't knew Sylvara would be the new hero, as the campaign wasn't out for beta testing, I guess, and after I got to know about it I kind of delayed the video. So in the rest of the video, if I do speak anything which is not ordered in number, I guess don't pick on that at all, as I am too lazy to record all this again. So yeah, I think Luminer is better than Sylvara overall, because Luminer has more damage. She can be a lot much more better support, I would consider, in most of the cases, but Sylvara has pretty great support abilities too. They both are kind of the same to me, to be honest. Let me know what you think about it in the comments down below. Luminer is one of the dragons from Kingdom of Alliance. Now here people may have many opinions that Kosmyr is more worse than Luminer, but personally saying Luminer is more of a support dragon is what I would like to say. Yes, Luminer's most of the abilities in the entire game are based off on true damage, which is eventually good. Gives shields to barracks and other troops I guess, but doesn't work on heroes, which is kind of disappointing. But yeah, truly saying his super is also pretty great just by the fact it can give you a lot of crowd control at the same moment. If you need some instant damage or any place where you might have an enemy just getting through the choke point in your strategy, depends to be honest. Luminer deals magical damage, has physical resistant too, which is actually really good according to an actual dragon. I'm not gonna say he's particularly very great, but he's a B tier dragon in my perspective, as most of the dragons are super powerful. So yeah, I believe Luminer is not as powerful or better as Kosmyr. That's my personal belief, and I'll explain it to you why. Kosmyr. Now here's the thing, with Kosmyr I find him really powerful in comparison to Luminer, and when I play with him he might not have as much true damage abilities as compared to Luminer, but he has so much more explosive way of dealing damage, you know. If you get it, you get it. He can deal magical damage, physical damage, and sometimes true damage too, which is actually really good. His few of the abilities are so powerful, like the one where he spawns in crystals all over the land, where it deals immense amount of damage, which is probably one of my favorite ones out there for Kosmyr. His ability itself is pretty powerful. I find it a little bit tricky to use it in some situations, as it can go terribly wrong if you don't use it on the right place. Kosmyr has the ability to slow down the enemies while being able to deal enough damage, so he's gonna provide you crowd control and a high explosive damage rate. Personally feel like is what makes Kosmyr better than Luminer in most of the situations. With it, Kosmyr also has a few insta-kill abilities which are truly powerful in most of the situations. As far as you could ask me, Luminer does not have that. Being able to insta-kill itself is pretty powerful ability, so that I feel like makes him a lot much more better dragon in all kind of sense. Kosmyr's ability is mostly dedicated to dealing more damage, attacking enemies, where most of the Luminer's ability are support oriented is what I would like to call over here. So Luminer is more of the side where he can support your troops and deal pretty great amount of damage. In reality, most of the dragons are S tier, but in dragons generally he sets off. All of the Kingdom of Alliance dragons will set off in mostly A at their best performance.
That glitters is mine.
Very sad, one of the weakest dragons out of Kingdom of Vengeance, and that's not a bad thing at all, because he's still one of the most powerful dragons in this entire list. The problem I feel like while using Beresad is I personally feel like he has a shorter range compared to other dragons. Let me know if I'm correct right over here, I'm not really sure. Although with him, he can deal pretty great amount of damage, his abilities are pretty fine too. He can spawn in a golem, he can actually do an insta-kill too, although he deals physical damage and that's not a bad thing at all. Beresad's ability is what carries him most of the time, as his spell can actually deal a lot of damage to the most of the average enemies out there, and when there are a lot of enemies on the map, this is exactly where Beresad shines. With it, I personally love Beresad. He's personally my favorite dragon out of all, but I still gotta put him here, as Kingdom of Alliance Bonehart actually surpasses him in terms of performance. So let's take a look at him now.
Now I become plague.
Kingdom of Alliance Bonehart, the weaker version of the Frontiers Bonehart, let's say, when he got defeated by Joku and got scattered all around with his bones around the map, and Vesnan reviving him, he's back, and now his abilities are pretty much similar to before. Spell is something I consider very weak. I won't say it's bad, but it actually is something they intended to put in because they didn't want it to make Bonehart too much broken, and with this it actually helps Bonehart a lot because Kingdomish Alliance Bonehart just needs something to stall around. If things can get stalled around, this Bonehart's gonna deal so much damage you can't even imagine. With it, he can also deal explosive, true damage, physical damage, pretty sure. So yeah, he's pretty strong out there if you want to say. His abilities are really powerful, massive damage. I find him pretty much one of the best heroes out there in Kingdomish Alliance. So yeah, he deserves to be over here. But now the dragons which we are going to talk about are just gonna be broken, and with broken I mean literally broken. No other hero in Kingdomish history has ever matched at their levels. I mean, few might have. So why don't we start with the most underrated dragon in Dragon's history, Diyanyun.
No gods, just me.
Diyanyun, the top 4 most powerful dragon in our list. With it, he's pretty powerful. He may be really slow to micro, he's a very slow dragon, although the specialty of this entire dragon is he can attack while moving, which makes him so much more powerful, as if you know how to micro him and how to use him, he can be a great hero to use overall. He can strike up to 7 enemies if I'm correct, he can stun enemies, heal your troops, while his main spell is just even more powerful as it's the powerhouse of damage, and you can stack up to around 10 or 9 of them around the map, which is even more insane. Just by the fact of that, this dragon just puts up a really good performance in terms of all of the dragons we saw so far. Diyanyun is personally one of the underrated dragons I have ever seen in Kingdomish history, so let's give him a little bit credit. He's personally one of the dragons I love using in game, so yeah, he's on our top number 4. Bonehart from Kingdomish Frontiers. Now this dragon comes up on top 3rd dragon, and we all know if you have used him, you just basically know how broken he is. If you use him in this game, most of the hardest levels in this entire game will become so easy that you'll be breezing through this entire game. Even the endless waves can be achieved to a very high number. He deals massive damage. His abilities are so powerful. Bone Rain ability is one of the most powerful one he has. He can deal so much more damage with that. With it, he's just too much powerful. He can spawn in bone drakes around the map, and all Bonehart requires is just enemies being stalled at one location. As far as that can happen, Bonehart can do the work for you. And with it, I would also consider him to be one of the strongest because of the reason he doesn't even have a hero spell, but it's a complete different game, so it definitely makes sense. But most of the heroes in this entire list had a hero spell, and Bonehart doesn't even have that, and he's still on top. So now it's time for us to get to the top 2 dragons. You might have already expected it, but let's get to them anyways.
I'm Lord of the Flame.
Murguln, now bringing in another powerhouse of dragon over here. This dragon can deal immense amount of damage. While it has a physical resistance, even a little bit can help us out a ton, to be honest. And when we take a look at her abilities, even more powerful, as she can permanently boost the damage of the nearby towers. So this can actually make a huge difference, as in most of the game, tower buffs are normally given through other towers ability or hero boosted tower damage for a little bit of time. But nope, Murguln does not believe in that. She just permanently, as far as she's in that radius of that tower boost, she's gonna be increasing the damage for a specific amount, let's say. With it, she has 2 insta-kill ability. One of it is just like alright one, and second one we have is literally one of the most broken one out there, her spell ability.
it can literally insta-kill most of the things around in this game except few mini bosses from the DLCs and bosses of course, or else it would have been too much powerful, you know. Moreover, I don't need to explain anything else about her other ability, as she can deal immense amount of damage at the same time while just standing there. Even if an enemy is passing down through them, they're gonna get damaged, and that may look small damage, but eventually it can get a big amount of damage too, as most of it is true damage. And you know, when it's true damage, the actual hero can just be so much more broken, and these are just not balanced at all, to be honest. Kingdom of Vengeance has probably the most powerful heroes in history we could ever seen, and I really enjoy it anyways. So yeah, that's my opinion on her. She's gonna be the number 2, and we all know who's gonna be the number 1 on our list. So what are we waiting for? Let's get into it.
Revenge is best served cold.
Eiskalt. Now, we all knew it. Let's just be honest, we all knew it, who's gonna be the first over here. And yeah, I really have no explanation much about it, but let's just go through his abilities. He can deal a lot of damage with his few of the abilities, where he throws off a big ice ball around the map which goes around the entire path, any specific path it goes around, and it deals immense amount of damage. Creates ice spikes which deals true damage, pretty sure, as we all must be aware of him, that his normal attack slows down enemies while dealing immense amount of magical damage. Oh my god, yeah, super is just too much broken, as we all know it. And it's basically like using one of those spells we could buy in Kingdom Rush Frontiers and even in Kingdom Rush Vengeance on mobile version, which freezes up the entire map. Well, you don't need it anymore, as you have Eiskalt. You can just freeze the entire map, and it's not even a shorter duration, it's pretty long duration. In this much amount of time, you can actually just create a game changer over here, and if you cannot, it's a skill issue. I'm just gonna say this on your face. It's a skill issue, okay? And there are a few enemies which cannot be stopped. It's basically few of the bosses I would consider, and mini bosses from DLCs, which is actually good. That's the only reasons why DLC hell turned out to be a lot much more better than my expectations. And yeah, his skill's just too strong, and there is not much we could do about it. I really enjoy him. He's not the strongest in terms of lore, he's the strongest dragon and stands on the top, and I do not think there will be any more dragon who could actually surpass this thing. This monstrosity is what I would like to call it. Let me know what your opinions are in the comments down below. But yeah, so I hope you found this video enjoying, entertaining, or helpful. Make sure that subscribe button with notifications on. I have a lot of other videos on my channel which you can check it out, so make sure you do that. You're gonna enjoy them. And this will be me signing out of this one, and make sure you comment down below what's your tier list for all of the dragons. Keep on rushing.